coming back to you, what are the different risks that people should be aware of? We've spoken about liquidity, but are there others that people should be aware of when looking at investing?
Look, there's a whole host, and I don't want it to be a frightening conversation. It is something that should be managed, not necessarily avoided. And you mentioned a few of those with liquidity. Inflation risk, I think, is a particularly important, but also a topical risk at the moment. Up until only a few days ago, interest rates were allegedly falling here in 2024. We face a scenario now with inflation at a much higher and elevated level that interest rate risk, i.e. the risk that rates rise, certainly for those with variable mortgages, can become an issue. And it's amazing how quickly that dynamic can change. So inflation risk, and we'll talk about that shortly, is a risk. Interest rate risk is a real risk. As the world becomes easier to invest in and people are more comfortable investing outside of Australia, I think it's a wonderful thing. There are so many amazing investments out there globally, but you introduce a new concept called currency risk. That is the movements in the Australian dollar versus the local currency you are investing in. Now, there are periods, 2009, I recall, when the Australian dollar was incredibly strong. It was over parity. It was over 1-for-1 against the US dollar. But very quickly, it can fall back down to its long-run average at 75 cents. May sound bad, but if you've already had your investments overseas and you brought them back, you would actually do particularly well. So again, there are just a few examples of risks that are to be managed, not avoided.